I was feeling the winter blues definitely this winter, and my friends took me out cross-country skiing, and I snowshoed, they cross-country skied. It was nice to look down at the ground and see yarrow popping up through the snow, the dead plant material, and bee balm popping up through the snow, and different fungi on the trees, and it just reminded me that I have a relationship with these plants, and that yes, they're dormant now, but they need that period of dormancy so that they can come back to life in the spring. I've been working in the landscape industry for the last 3 years. It started with the desire to live off the land. My mom always grew a huge garden, and once I learned more about urban horticulture, there was also the urban agriculture piece tied into that. The garden that we're working on designing is in the Nutana neighborhood of Saskatoon. Their dream is to really garden as much as possible, and that looks like vegetable gardening, fruit gardening. They want plums and apricots and raspberries and Saskatoon berries and strawberries. The husband asked for a wild look, which I really was excited to hear, because that means that I can use more native plants and that I can explain to him and he'll understand that these plants aren't going to stay in one place necessarily. My gardens are definitely maybe a little more wild and unkept looking, but they attract more bees and birds and people to them as well. Native plants are really nice to work with because they reseed themselves and they kind of move around throughout the garden. Anise hyssop is my favorite plant. Agastache foeniculum, I believe is how you would pronounce that. That's my favorite native plant. It's one that shows up in the aspen parkland. It tastes like licorice, which is really nice, and it's really good for if you have a sore throat or if you feel like you're coming down with a cold. It's very soothing to your system. So a lot of the native plants that I work with are also edible in some way or medicinal in some way, which is another reason why I love them. I think it's just kind of a web effect when it comes to one person working with native plants. For the medicinal reasons, they're going to need access to a supplier who supplies the native plants, and that person has to know how to cultivate the native plants, so there's someone who has gone out on the landscape and researched and interacted with the native plants in the wild, and it branches out just from one person being interested in native plants to someone trying to preserve native prairie and bring back bison, and the community grows from there.